One Netbook has done it again, this time with their latest product, the One X Fly. Hey everyone, it's Project SBC, and I'm back today to do a review video on the One X Fly. Big thanks to them for sending this over for review. All thoughts and opinions are my own. There's a few things I don't like about this, which I'll cover later in the video. But to quickly summarize, this is a compact, feature-rich, performance Windows handheld that during the crowdfunding phase will have a very competitive price point. And if you were thinking about picking up a Windows handheld other than the ROG Ally, this is something that you should seriously consider. Quick disclaimer, this is a prototype and there are some things that don't work or are missing in this device that will be in the final product, and I'll talk more about that later. Just remember that while you're watching this video. For the internal specs, we're running the Ryzen 7 7840U with 8 cores, 16 threads, and Radeon 780M graphics. And depending on the model you pick, you could have anywhere between 16 to 64 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM. And also depending on the model, you could have anywhere between 512 gigabytes to 4 terabytes of PCIe 4.0 storage. This also has a 48 watt-hour battery. And here's a quick glimpse of the pricing scheme for those that got in on the early pricing. Let's talk about one of the main features of this device, the screen. It features a 1080p, 120Hz, 7-inch display with 450 nits of brightness and unfortunately no variable refresh rate. Prototypes so far have had a 60Hz screen, including mine, but I do have a video here of One Netbook with a 120Hz sample screen installed. So yeah, it really does exist and it will have 120Hz. One Netbook told me that 60 and 120 Hz will be available out of box, but I want to see 30, 45, 75, 90 Hz available. While this doesn't have variable refresh rate, I want to get the next best thing, and I will work with them to see if we can make that happen. Let's talk about the overall feel and the controller. So yeah, 580 grams. This is definitely something that you can hold for a while gaming. I have my arms resting on the desk and it's definitely comfortable to hold. You'll notice that they do have these ergonomic grips on it, which really does help to hold the device. You know, there's no sharp edges. It's definitely something comfortable to hold. You notice on the back that there was a texture difference, and I'm told this is like some sort of antimicrobial paint. It really provides a textured feel. It's like a grippy feel, and I really like the feel of it. My fingers got sweaty. My fingers aren't going to slide around on this texture. You do see that it does pick up some fingerprints, but I'm told by One Netbook that they will add a fingerprint resistant coating, so that should make a really nice addition to the final product. So here's my natural resting spot when holding the device. Definitely comfortable to hold, and you'll see that my fingers can easily go back and forth between the joysticks and the buttons D-pad. So it's definitely something I don't have to adjust my grip to reach. The face buttons have a really nice clicky tactile feel. The joysticks are Hall sticks. They're not full size, they are the mini ones. And they do have the L3, R3 clicking capabilities. The D-pad here is definitely good for fighting games, no complaints there. LB and RB are up top. The new macro programmable buttons are next to them. Right now they're set to the guide button, but they will be programmable in the One X console software when it releases. Now the other problem I have with these are they're a little difficult to reach. If I'm playing a game, I have to reach up and above, adjusting my grip to select these. I do wish they were a little bit more easy to access, or there were like some sort of back programmable buttons like we see in like the GPD Win 4. These have Hall triggers, and yeah, based on the first look, you wouldn't think that they have a lot of travel, but yeah, they really do. If I go ahead and I press this, it does go into the chassis a bit, and it does provide that nice travel feel. Like all other One X Player products, this has a mouse mode. If you long press the keyboard button, an orange light will pop up, and now we can use the joysticks to move the mouse cursor around. A becomes left click, I think B is right click. It's one of those convenient features that is handy to have when you don't have a dedicated keyboard and trackpad. Up top, we have the start and back buttons from an Xbox controller, and in the bottom left here, we have a go to desktop button. On the right, we have a turbo button, and if you have the One X console app installed, it will open up the little quick access menu. In the bottom left corner, we have that text there, and that's my channel name. It's awesome to see that. I love that we can have these little text down there. Unfortunately, the text is not changeable once you get it. On the opposite side, you're going to notice that the lights aren't on. And I told you earlier in the video, this is a prototype. It's one of the things I knew was going to be a problem when I got it. So yeah, just remember it's going to be fixed on the final product. Here is Gamepad Tester, and I kind of wanted to show you the dead zones and circularity. So yeah, I got some input in as low as like 2.5%, and using the circularity, we were getting less than 2% average error. I did want to do a brightness and size comparison for you, and yeah, the 1X Fly definitely is the brightest. We've got the Mini and the 1X Player 2 here as well, and yeah, the 1X Fly definitely comes in a nice compact package. And up top between the macro buttons, we have a power button, volume rocker, headphone jack, USB 4 port that is Type-C, and a USB Type-A port. On the bottom, we have the speakers, another USB 4 Type-C port, and the micro SD card slot. On the back, you can see this fancy shaped air intake for the fan. Some people expressed concerns whether this was capable of cooling the 7840U at higher wattage, and I'm here to tell you that yeah, it actually can. I've got Heaven Benchmark running in the background at 30 watts. It's been running there for a while, and the temperature has come to like an even point. We're around 80 C on the package. If you look at the 1X console, we'll see that the fan is around 80%. Right now, the fan noise is fine. It's there, but it's not obnoxious. But if I do move the microphone to the top side of the device, you're going to hear that noise pick up. There's like a 12 decibel difference between the top and the bottom. This brings me to my last point, these speakers. Now these are Harman tuned speakers, and yeah, when these are playing, they sound really good, and they really help drown out the little fan noise we do have at high TDP. Let's go over what I like and what I don't like. What I like is it has a 120 hertz screen. It comes in a really nice small package. It features the Ryzen 7 7840U. It has two USB 4 ports which are capable of eGPU. The speakers are really nicely tuned and sound great. And lastly, it has a really competitive price point if you jump in on the crowdfunding. Now for what I don't like, the lack of variable refresh rate. I know we got a glimpse of this on the ROG Ally, and I'd really like to see this carry over to these Chinese companies. I didn't expect them to be right away, but I was kind of hoping One Netbook could be the leader. The other thing I don't like is the macro buttons up top. They're a little difficult to reach if I'm using them during gaming. So if I set them up for some sort of combination, they're going to be a little bit difficult to reach, and I don't think I'd like to use them during gameplay. Lastly, the RGB text is not changeable. It's something that people asked a lot, and whatever you set it is what it will be for the rest of the device's life. The Indiegogo campaign does go live on August 10th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll leave a link to the preview page in the description below. I also talk about the price in a previous video. In summary, the cheapest was $739 for 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage, and a 7840U. I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. I'll have another video posting either later tonight or tomorrow morning with gameplay. And thanks for watching.